once again to this Evolving Wholeness video series. The topic of this video is titled, "The Mind is Not the Ego." Now, for many of you who happen to be familiar with spiritual teachings, the understandings about what the ego is, this may come as a relative surprise. So just consider that statement for a moment, that the mind is not the ego. The body is the ego. And what do I mean then by this? First off, ego is the conditioned personality. It is everything that has been learned and conditioned from birth, maybe even before birth, while you are in the womb, that creates your personality, your belief systems, your experiences. But the traditional understanding is that it is the ego and the mind that creates your separation, creates the experience of separation. And what it is I'm saying to you is this is not the case. It is not the mind that is creating your separation. It is not the mind that is creating your suffering, and therefore your search for a solution. So all this must be understood very clearly. So if we start to look at then, what is the ego? What is it that's creating your suffering? What is creating your experience of separation and therefore your unhappiness? What is it? And what it is the body and all the various energetic contractions and impressions that are stored in the body, and specifically in relation to your heart. It is these contractions in your heart, as well as various corresponding other parts of your body, especially the hara or the abdominal region. It is these contracted emotional traumas or stresses that truly is the ego. It is the body and its stresses that is creating the separation. A good example of this, for example, take a water hose. If you take a water hose and the water that flows through it that represents life force or energy, and you then bend the hose, you crank it, you clamp it down, it blocks the flow of energy. Likewise, when the heart, the abdominal region, and to a lesser degree other parts of the body, the muscular system, when these become stressed, contracted, the life force energy that is you, that is consciousness, experiences the pain. And this pain is the experience of separation. And because you are separate, it drives your being, whether consciously or unconsciously, to find a solution. Now, of course, since the general understanding, even in spiritual systems and traditions, is that the mind is the ego, all of this work, all of this effort and attempt is made to fix the mind, to change the beliefs, to change the understandings. And even though, yes, this is one facet, and this is one aspect that needs to be looked at, that needs to be journeyed, it is not the primary. It really is only a secondary aspect. For when you release the contractions in the body, in the heart, the hara, the muscular system, then this free flow of energy can take place. And what this allows for is the potential freedom, the space for consciousness to become aware of itself, to become self-aware. So no amount of work in terms of positive thinking, changing your belief structures, none of this will ultimately provide you any degree of freedom, of wholeness. And evolving wholeness then is really about freeing up the contracted energy. It is about freeing up what is blocked, what is obstructed. And to the degree that you clear totally fraudulent beliefs and fraudulent thinking, yes, this can help. But so many systems and traditions, spiritual traditions, look at spending so much time clearing the mind, thinking positively, etc., etc. And ultimately, this does not free the individual. So like anything in this evolving wholeness journey, the clearer your understanding of what it is that needs to be done, the more effective your practice, your spiritual practice can be. So your spiritual practice needs to have a primary focus of releasing the contraction of the body. Because as I've said, and I will say again, the ego is the body. It is not the mind. So the problem isn't the thoughts. The problem, which may appear to be the thoughts, or why people think it may be the thoughts, is when there is an emotional charge connected to a belief, connected to an experience. So this emotional charge that's held in your body is then usually imprinted with some sort of mental belief about the charge. So you could try to change all the beliefs, but if you don't release the contraction in the energy charge itself held in the heart, the hara, and the muscular system of the body, there will not be that free flow of the energy, sort of like the uncrinking, the unclamping of the hose. Then once the life force energy can start to flow again, then there is the possibility of awakening and greater evolution, greater wholeness. And we'll get into this more specifically in a future video. So for right now, once again, thank you for being here, being present with me in this moment of time. So stay present and be here. Yes.